Hello all, in this video we are going to discuss accounting for leases, IFRS 16, the conceptual nature of lease. So a lease is defined as a contract or part of a contract that conveys the right to control the use of identified property, plant or equipment, an identified asset for a period of time in exchange for consideration. So let's make it simple. Let's say that you are here and you need to start a business, but you can't afford to own a building. Like, you can't afford to purchase a building for conducting the business. You don't have that much money. So what you can do is you can go to a landlord who has a building, and you can acquire the right to use that building for your business. And by simply acquiring the right to use the asset, you cannot become the owner of the asset itself. Like, here the landlord remains the owner of the building, but the landlord will give you the right to use the building for conducting your business, and in return you have to pay him some consideration in the form of money. So let's say that the landlord has given you the right to use the building for the next 5 years. So you need to pay consideration for the next 5 years. That is, you can agree with the landlord to pay let's say 5,000 at the beginning of every month, or 5,000 at the end of every month for the next 5 years. So this is how the lease system works. And some important definitions like lessor, lessee, and lease term. Basically, a lease contract has got two parties, that is the lessor and lessee. So the lessor is the entity that provides the right to use an underlying asset in exchange for consideration. So in the previous example, the landlord is the lessor because he is providing you the right to use his asset for you, and in turn he gets some consideration in the form of money from you. And lessee is the entity that obtains the right to use an underlying asset in exchange for consideration. So in the previous example, you are the lessee because you're obtaining the right to use the building from the landlord, and in return you pay some consideration to the landlord. The lease term is the length of the time that the lessee has the right of use of an asset. So in the previous example, I have told you that you have agreed to the landlord to use the building for the next 5 years. So this 5 years, the length of the time that you have the right to use of the asset, is known as the lease term.